Hello and welcome to DM Talks live from Chennai in India. Today we're gonna look at playing against pieces. It's a strong grandmaster concept that is not so easy to learn and actually not so easy to do. But when you understand this thing, it will markedly improve your game. The game we're gonna see is between Koneru, Humpy, and Kateryna Lagno. And by the way, I've been looking for a good game to demonstrate this concept. I was thinking I was playing against pieces in all my games, but when I was looking for a good game to show it, it was not so easy. But in this game, I found while making an article about women's section in the Olympiad. The Olympiad that starts tomorrow, Friday. Today we're gonna go to the opening ceremony, and I think Prime Minister Modi will be there. So that will be exciting, even though it's a long day. So far, the organization of the Olympiad has been fantastic. They are really doing a lot here. They obviously really want to do a good job. There are posters about the Olympiad everywhere in the city, and well, you basically have more or less your own helper here as a player. So I don't think it will be hard to sort of do better than this. Anyway, let's get on with the game. As I said, I found it while browsing for a game about women's section. The thing is, in the women's section, usually it's a race between Russia and China. And Russia is for obvious for certain reasons not here. They are banned from playing due to the war in Ukraine. And China has decided not to play in India. I don't really know why. This has not been said, but there are some geopolitical issues between the two nations and so on. That leaves the door open for a new winner, and there are three teams that can win. Basically, it's India with Humpy Koneru, and that's why I found this game, because if she's not in great shape, they're not going to win, because she's clearly the best player in the team. And then there's the Ukraine. That's always a strong women's team. And then there is Georgia, that's also have a long tradition of strong women's team. Anyway, we're going to see this game. Kateryna Lagno used to be an Ukrainian. She now lives and plays for Russia. This way is a way to avoid the Grünfeld that Lagno likes to play, and but Lagno plays it anyway. The interesting thing is, after this, does White have anything better than d4 transposing immediately to the Grünfeld? And she decides that she's got something a little bit better, so she plays rook b1 first. That's interesting. If you look at this position, after something like this, one of the main openings is rook b1. So it also makes sense that Black will answer rook b1 with c5. But White is not obligated to play d4, and she instead played bishop b5, check, which might or might not be a little bit annoying for Black. She plays knight c6 and bishop a3, immediately putting pressure on the pawn here, and we see that this is a little bit annoying for Black, actually. She decides to really go for it with a6. So that's a bit provocative. You say, okay, I'm threatening your pawn. I don't care. I'm just threatening your bishop, and you can take whatever you like here. And then I'm going to play this move, stopping d4. Of course, in this situation, if Black was to castle, you go d4. You have complete control over this square. Without this move, the Grünfeld loses a lot of its bite. So this would just be bad for Black. Just totally, more or less lost, to be honest. So here she goes queen d3. Interesting move. The idea is it attacks the pawn here, and it prevents the king from castling, and you can't go queen e2, which you would love to, due to the hanging rook on b1. So it looks really smart, like a strong concept, but Koneru just ignores it with rook b6, attacking the pawn, getting the rook out of the way, and getting ready mostly for this move. And she will play that no matter what. So here it comes. And so what's the status here? Well, the materials is equal. One problem for black is that this pawn is blocked here, and actually it will almost be better not to have the pawn, and that's part of the thing that's interesting in this kind of situation. So white has complete control over this square, which is a very important square in this structure, but black does have the bishop pair. If this bishop were to become good on the white squares, it will be a monster. If it's not to become good, then it will not be much. So white's main idea here is to make this piece, I'll make it red now, into a ghost. So he will, she will play against this piece and trying to make it as bad as possible. The idea behind this is simply, if you can make one of your opponent's pieces, especially when there are only 2 bishops and 2 rooks left, if you can make one of the pieces bad, the position sort of starts to rot. So white's idea is not to win material, and this is where it becomes very difficult for most players, because you want to grab material. You have this great rook here, and it can just take the pawn and so on, and you really want to take something. So here, bishop e6, natural move, attacking the pawn, and this could be a very strong pawn going this way. So that will not be nice, and this pawn does not matter. As soon as these pawns start moving, this bishop will get into the game, the bishop on d7. So a4, preventing black from taking the pawn, not doing anything yet. Bishop d5, defending the pawn, probably not a good move. And here is sort of the situation. Is who's better and why is always a good question. The thing is, black does actually have 2 bishops, but the problem is they might both be bad. And white starts by saying, okay, we will restrict this bishop as much as possible. So the next move is rather obvious, even though it is probably difficult for a lot of players. Rook c1, simply with the idea to play d4. Black castle. This is of course not takeable, but white would not take it anyway. She's trying to sort of control the bishops. If she can control the bishops, then black is more or less lost. So c4, black could take, but that will just leave her with weak pawns all over the place, and a bishop that cannot really attack anything. And white has a nice position, is first on the open files and so on. So bishop e6, and also the bishop pair. Here comes an important move, knight d4. So just moving the knight and accepting opposite colored bishops. And here black might want to do something like this. Just sacrifice a pawn and saying, okay, I probably can hold this. That was what that's says, and I don't think white would take it. She would play bishop e3 and d3, and black would still have to defend a lot of things here. It's much easier to be white in this position, especially this rook is very well placed. You can never get rid of it, and so on. Instead, she plays this move. It's a natural move, but Lagno is not good at defending these kind of passive positions, and you cannot defend passively in this kind of position, because after this move, black is totally lost. This bishop will simply be a ghost. It will sort of go around the board, not able to do anything. So while black starts saying, okay, we have opposite colored bishop, it looks good, it looks nice, it looks fine, it looks like everything is okay. We have opposite colored bishops, nothing wrong here, and I'm covering all the pawns and so on. It's probably a draw, but the problem is it's not a draw, because this bishop will be a big concern soon, and we see it here, even making room for it. King coming, rook here, and it doesn't look so bad, but it is bad. Bishop f5, rook b7, and we start to see that, oh man, this is not good, right? You can just feel it now, that this is it's gonna be a problem, and the king will be a problem, and so on, and this pawn will be a problem, and rook b6. And this is all nice, and it looks like it cannot be that bad, but just d4. And the problem is that this bishop cannot do anything. This is sort of this is a monster that controls everything. It can always block the b file with bishop b6, and will do that. And this guy here is just rooming the board with nothing to do. And every grandmaster knows that this kind of position is just totally winning. The key here is not to win more material fast. It's to avoid this bishop ever waking up. You put it into a coma, keep it in the coma. And all very typical. And okay, you can win material. Rook here, and you have a pass pawn, and this is bishop c5. We again see this nice little trick, keeping the bishop here, not pushing the pawns or anything, just keeping the pawn. And of course, the idea is simply this, and winning. And after this, this is of course is a blunder, and the rook. The king hits both pieces, winning, and Lagno resign. And that looked very easy, right? It looks like it was this Lagno girl. She cannot play chess, but she is very strong. So the concept is very strong, and it's something you should always look out for. If you can make one of your opponent's pieces very bad, then you will generally win the game. The position starts to rot from the inside, and things just get worse and worse, and so on. I can definitely recommend it. There will be more videos down here from Chennai. As you can see, we have new surroundings. I'm sitting in my hotel room. The light's not gonna be perfect. I hope the sound is fine. And this was DM Talks from Chennai, India. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon.